What's good, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Full Circle. I'm your host, as always, Harmon Jr. Please feel free to find me at Harmon Jr. on all your favorite social media. We got another exciting episode for you today. Pokemon month has been over for like a month, and so many people started listening to the show again. So I just want to say, shame on y'all for not listening during Pokemon month. Pokemon is awesome. You cannot escape it. I'm going to do this every year. Haha on you. But we have a new first-time special guest today. I'm very excited. She is a veteran in this industry. She is a top-notch journalist. She kills the game quite literally in every possible way. If you know her for being Greg Miller's and Jen's roommate, shame on you, because she does so much more than that, despite the fact she's wearing a kind of funny hoodie. So I don't know.
I know, I'm sorry.
Take that as you will. Welcome, everyone. Lucy James, woo! How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you doing?
I am doing well. And just in case, for the people at home, who are you and what do you do outside of being Greg's and Jen's ex-roommate?
Oh no, the question. So I've been at GameSpot for almost 8 years. I've been in games media for over 10 years. I am a Twitch streamer. I do stuff for Giant Bomb. Right now I do like the Very Online Show, Arcade Pit, and we do JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast. And at GameSpot, I'm like a host. So if you've ever seen any of our E3 coverage or live coverage, it's usually me and our team. And I am a senior producer there. So that means that's a catch-all term for saying I do everything. So yeah, I don't know, fingers in like many hats, like fingers in all the pies, that kind of thing. And this is Peanut. You can see her in the background. She's being a bit of a menace.
All right, for our audio-only listeners, Peanut is a very beautiful cat.
Big cat. Big cat.
You know, I like. I'm not saying your cat is fat, but I like fat cats, like the ones that clearly need to lose weight. Cause I go to people's houses and I'm just like, look at you, just looking out the window, and like you could pick them up and floof them around, and they're fat, so I guess they don't care. Like they want to paw you, but they don't.
They don't have the energy. No, she did get. I took her to the vet, and they were like, she needs to lose a couple pounds, and I was like, she is perfect, but okay. But no, she's also very tall, like a tall cat. So we've conveniently started recording just as she get the zoomies. So she's gonna be sprinting back and forth. She'll probably be on the table behind me. She might even come up on the desk. That's her new favorite spot, which is very helpful. But no. Also, yeah, I got a cat, and she's my whole personality now because I love her so much.
Nice. You know, I've never personally owned a cat, but if I ever do, I'm using that term now. I don't know if that's a popular cat. I'm like, yo, my cat's got the zoomies right now. You just got the deal.
He's got the zoomies. Oh, yeah. My mom always used to say, oh, it's the mad half hour. But I like zoomies because she just sprints from one end of the apartment to the other.
No, I mean, it's a fun word. It's got the letter Z. It's got 2 O's, which apparently, you know, kids like words with 2 O's, I found out recently.
Oh.
So there we go, you know. Big brain marketing strategy. Always on. Well, people, we got an exciting show for you today. As always, we're going to be talking about our favorite parts of Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. What is the Metal Gear Solid news? Well, Lucy's been streaming it for the first time ever, apparently.
I know.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's also kind of... It's been really fun, and I played 1 and 2 on stream, and then obviously I've taken a break for 3 just because the current climate, the timing, it didn't quite feel right to be playing Metal Gear Solid 3. So I've actually pivoted to Resident Evil. But Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 I loved so much. Weird to kind of, I don't know, because I never had any real experience with them, and it was hard to go back to a game that's obviously 20 plus years old when I'm so used to the modern way that games control. And so it very much kind of encourages you to reach it on its level and be like, this is how you play the game. You can't like brute force this stuff. You have to learn how to actually play this game and how to use these controls. And so I got there eventually, but it did take me like 3 hours to do the Hind D fight, which is kind of ridiculous in retrospect.
I understand that. But before we dive into that journey, we're going to be talking about video game retail, because we talked about this before, people, but recently Reggie came out with a statement that GameStop was not doing it, was not doing the thingy thing. And is that over for video game retail? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But before all that, we're gonna kick this off with DLC versus sequels because Lucy, as games get better and bigger, all that good stuff. We get DLCs that feel like full-fledged games, and sometimes full-fledged games that might as well have been DLC. That barrier is getting a little shaky, and for better or worse. And I was just wondering, especially because the Overwatch 2 fiasco is now coming to a head as Overwatch 2, quote unquote, is getting ready to release. And I gotta ask you, do you feel like that's truly just a whole bunch of DLC packages released this once and called a second game?
I don't know. So the thing with Overwatch 2 is, and like I say this is someone with, over 1,000 hours in Overwatch. I remember when the Overwatch 2 announcement came, and I just remember being extremely confused by it. But at the same time, I understand it because every new hero, every new map, whatever, is free. Like, the majority of the way that they'll be recouping costs on that game is going to be through loot boxes. Which is fair enough, but it's not the same bump as you're going to get as if you sell a brand new $60 game. And so I was like, okay, from the financial side, I can understand why they're doing a sequel. They're obviously doing a bunch of graphical changes. But it was weird because the lines for Overwatch 2 got so blurred because it was like, well, all the heroes are going to come to Overwatch 1. I don't think the maps... No, I think the maps were. I think like everything in PvP was going to come to Overwatch 1 or at least be playable. So... then like the PvE, which is the really like you've had PvE events in Overwatch before, but they're never really the reason that people play. Like people play for PvP. Yeah, you can get some good skins and whatever by doing the challenges, like the archive stuff and the Halloween and Christmas stuff, but it's like it's not why you bought the game. And so I was kind of confused by that. And then a couple weeks ago they were like, oh no, okay, well we're consciously decoupling our PvE from our PvP. And so I just wonder what that'll mean for the PvE. Because obviously a lot of the effort's going to go in PvP because that's the thing that people play Overwatch for.
I'm not trying to pick on Overwatch. It's just the most easy.
Oh no, it's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a good blatant example of I don't want to say bad, but how blurred the line can be because you would think if Apex Legends was like, here's Apex Legends 2 and here's like the next 5 heroes and a new map, you would be like, well, I mean, this is probably just the PS5 Xbox Series X version in terms of graphical power. And then these are just the heroes we would have got naturally in the game that we already own and play. And Apex Legends was kind of free, so not asking me to pay a full game price for it would probably just be like, I'm not doing that. But it's weird, like you say, because there's no right or wrong way. And then because if you tell someone, here's DLC and it's $50-$60, they would probably be riots in the streets.
Yeah, no one's gonna go for $50-$60 DLC, are they?
But at the same time, it's like, here's the second version of the game, $50-$60, and they're like, but this is just like, and so like, yeah, from the financial standpoint, I get it. There is no right or wrong answer. But, benching that argument for a second, it's like, but also, I remember when God of War Ragnarok was shown, and people were like, this looks like the same exact engine. This game was probably made in the thing, and they were like, it was.
Oh my god.
And people
it's like, do you know how games are made? No. Let me tell you about the Unreal Engine and how many games are made in that one.
And then, people lost their mind, and I'm just like, from the fan standpoint, I'm like, but they couldn't just be like, here's Ragnarok, the expansion pack. That's also the sequel. That also costs money. Yeah,
it's oh my god, and it's taking them like what, at least 4 years to make it. Like that's a hell of a lot of time to spend on a quote unquote expansion pack.
But I guess my question is now, do you see a future in gaming like where games, all games, the live service model has been successful in many ways. Could you see like maybe like Last of Us moving to that, or just games that we consider single player experiences where it's just like here's the BioShock universe, and here's the games that come out in the universe, and here's just the money you either pay to just have it unlocked from the get-go. I don't know, something like you pay $200 and as they come out you get them, or
Oh wow. Yeah.
you know.
I don't know. I think in terms of like proposing a single player game as a live service is going to be a tricky one. I think though, don't forget we have season passes where you kind of have that, like you get that initial buy-in. A season pass is maybe $20 depending on the title, and then you get all of the content that comes later on. So like the only one that springs to mind for me right now is Mass Effect 2 because of Cerberus Network, but like you paid that or you got it with your game and then you bought the season pass or whatever. I can't remember what the exact arrangement was, but you got so much DLC, like, and it was kind of guaranteed to come to you. Oh yeah. And like other games, I know like Borderlands, for example, we were talking about that, they've had season passes. And so all of the content you'll get eventually, like Assassin's Creed. And so I can see that being the model. I think if we're using like, say in the new BioShock, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to have DLC. A lot of the times as well, like some games will announce DLC and then end up getting cancelled because it also all depends on sales. And so I don't think you can really ask people to be like, to spend, upwards of $100 on something that's unproven. So I guess, I don't know. I think DLC is still here to stay. I think, God, people are clamoring for Elden Ring DLC. I haven't even finished that game yet. But I don't know. I think live service games are always like a gamble for a developer anyway. I mean, Battleborn, you've got to make sure that you have that audience. And so I guess like maybe it also depends on the size and scope of the franchise that you're using. Like you wouldn't necessarily peg that idea on an unproven, like a new IP, but something like, I don't know, I would have said maybe like a Diablo or something, something massive that people have been clamoring for years, right?
Yeah, I think of like something like Smash Bros. I remember in the Smash community, people are like, I don't want to have to pay, $20 for each wave when I just want one character. But it's like the alternative is, locking yourself out of all the characters and then buying one character for like what, $5 or what have you. But Smash Bros. Is huge and proven, so of course, they can do that. But at the same time, it's like, what if you think about it? They had about 3 waves at about, $20 a piece. That's a new game price.
Yeah.
If you bought, clearly if you bought them in bulk, you saved money. But if you bought them as they came out, or you just got I'm gonna pay the one-time thing, that basically boils down to maybe $20 or $30 less than a new game.
Yeah, but I guess, I mean, the thing is as well is like, it depends on how much you as a player know that you'll get out of it. Like something like Smash Brothers is a game that people will be playing for years. Overwatch is a game I've been playing for 6 years. 6 years in May. And so I don't mind spending for games that I gonna be continuously playing. Like Halo, for example. When Halo Infinite came out, I was like, this is free, this is great. But then I found myself enjoying it, and I bought the Battle Pass, and I bought the cat ears, and I was like, I don't mind spending because I'm still getting enjoyment. And like, if you want to do the, comparison to movie stuff, like, I paid $30, because I live in San Francisco, to go and see the Batman in IMAX, right? And I was like, $30 for 3 hours, if you want to quantify your enjoyment based on how much you're spending. Whereas I bought Elden Ring for what, $60-$70, and I'm 30 hours into that, and like, I would buy DLC for that in a heartbeat. Overwatch, 50 quid when I was back in the UK. It's pennies at this point compared to if you want to compare the monetary value to the value of playing the game. So I don't know. It just depends on like what you're prepared to do and what you're prepared to spend.
This is true. Now here's the Nintendo wrench and everything, because they love to do stuff. Why do you think a developer will opt to, instead of making a new game like a Mario Kart 10, assuming that Mario Kart Tour, the mobile game, is Mario Kart 9, why would they opt to not make a new Mario Kart and just be like,
Mm.
hey, you know that game that came out like 5-6 years ago? Here's 48 new tracks, well above the limit of a new Mario Kart game, and just buy that. You know, that's the part that made me really think, like, why are they doing this to me? Why am I not getting Mario Kart 9 or 10? And why am I so gleeful to buy this? It's basically a new Mario Kart game. And I mean, 48 tracks, that's just a lot.
That's a lot. No, I mean, I think with the Mario Kart example, it's already one of, like, if you have a Switch or a Wii U, you probably have Mario Kart. I think, like, the conversion rate on it is ridiculous. It's one of the best-selling Switch games of all time. They already have that install base, and so for them, it's like, well, we have all these people who already own our game. What if we just gave it to them, because we know they'll pay, because it's already, like, it's a lower barrier to entry. It's cheaper for them to not have to make a completely new game. Like, they don't have to do a lot of stuff. Like, they can just put it into the game that they already have. It's cheaper for them. They already have the buy-in because there's so many people own this game. And like you said, you're like, I'm stoked to buy it. And so they don't have to spend that much money on like boxed copies and dealing with all that. Like, I know we're talking about games retail in a minute, but like they can essentially cut out that middleman and be like, we don't have to fight for shelf space because people already own our game. We just have to do a couple directs and some marketing spend. And then as well, it's like it's cheaper. So not only are people like they don't want to buy a new game, but it's like, oh, it's only $20, and I already have this game, and I know that I enjoy it because I've been playing it for like 6 years. But yeah, it's a funny one. I think it's definitely a game by game basis, though.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, we're about to get into retail. Excellent segue, by the way. And you know, I just think because I think of like what you know, we saw the trend from the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS, and we're still seeing it where it's like, oh, you already own the game, or here's like part 2 in the first game for free, kinda, and here's the automatic upgrade for free, kinda, also, exclamation point, asterisk, because you had to own the game, but if you didn't own the game, but if you don't have the disc, and it's just the digit, you know, all the wires cross, you know, and I just feel like, are we really just trying to get away from, you know, the physical release of a sequel? Because, you know, we've already experimented, I feel like, you know, in every aspect of the spectrum of like, what if you just bought the game, and as long as that game is like within, you know, I guess, you know, that storyline, like clearly it feels like God of War, but we're in like, I don't know, Mesoamerica, that would probably just be another game. But like, you know, clearly this is the same story, a continuation of that, and they're just like, hey, you bought the first one, here's just like the $40 expansion, and that. And then, you know, at some point if it does well, they'll be like, okay, here's the complete edition that's $100, and you know, here's Kratos, like, you know, doing, you know, I don't know, the floss. There you go. Put that on your desk. It's Fortnite. No. Fortnite has destroyed the sanctity of gaming. I said it.
Wow, you said it. I don't know. Fortnite has done a lot of very, very good things, but I will say it is very weird to see like Master Chief and Kratos together flossing.
Yeah.
But
I'm old, I guess. I guess, you know, there'll be some kid that'll like, get out of here with your Mario. And I've been told that, by the way, by a younger gamer. Yes.
That Mario's uncool?
Not that he's uncool, but to get out of here with my Mario, because I was going on like some, you know, all y'all do is play Call of Duty and nothing else. And, you know, he told me to get out of here with like my Mario and these other good games, in quotation.
Damn. No, someone in my family like has a young son, and I met him for the first time, and they were like, Lucy works in video games, and he like ran up to me, he was so excited, and he was like, do you play Fortnite? I went, no, I don't. This was a few years ago. Like, I don't. And he literally ran away. Like, I've never seen my stock just drop so quickly. And I was like, okay. Well, I can buy an 18 rated game and you can't. So whatever.
Exactly. I have a cousin and she's like 6 or something. I don't know. I'm at that age where like, I'm like, bro, I don't even know when you were born. I just showed up to like my aunt's house one day and you were here.
You were there.
Yeah. And she was literally like, oh, cool. Like, what's your Roblox username? And I was like, I don't play Roblox. And she was like, aren't you a gamer? And I was like, yeah, a real one. Nothing against Roblox.
Nothing against Roblox.
I've never played that game for a minute. It could be the best thing ever. But yeah, she like I know what you mean. She was just like, you don't play Roblox. What do you do?
No, I play the games that people rip off and put in Roblox. Because that market is rife. People make games that are really, really good. A couple of videos about Roblox and the kind of creator economy in that game, and it is terrifying.
Hashtag nothing against Roblox.
Nothing against Roblox.
But going into our next topic, retail. Yeah, you know, and this isn't to say that, you know, retail game spaces are dying, because I mean Walmart and Best Buy, as far as I know, will still sell those.
Yeah.
But you know, this is more just specifically places whose business practice is to sell games. And I'm excluding, like, you know, old school buy and trade places, because, you know, I think they'll be there until, you know, we all like die. So like they at least got like a good 60 years, I think, maybe more.
Oh, no, but the countdown clock has begun. Oh
God. Well, because by then, you know, every other game would be like digital, and you don't have to like go find it.
That's
true. But yeah, you know, retail game spaces, you know, there's always a conversation like, how long can they last? And now, you know, I remember when Reggie was announcing that he was going to go work at GameStop and, you know, do the thing. We're all like, yay, the savior. Of course, he's going to come do it. And now he was like, yeah, I'm out, bro. Like, like they ain't no saving that. They don't know what they're doing. And I'm like, wow, that's something.
I wonder how, I mean, I can't really speak to the financial side because I don't understand stocks. But I wonder how much the GameStop stock thing has kind of messed them up a bit. And I wonder if maybe that's a reason why Reggie's like, bye. But also, I mean, like, you know, the decline in physical game purchasing is still big, but you're right, like the Walmarts, the Targets, you know, people are like, oh, I'm just gonna walk around and I'll pick up a game while I'm here. Do people still need to go to a GameStop? Like, I mean, I would argue that yeah, because if I'm going by my local Target, the selection is not good, right? It's like,
it's very bad.
Like, there's no Elden Ring, which is so bizarre to me. Like, I also live near like a weird, like my local Target always has like the limited edition controllers in stock. Like, it had the Forza Horizon controller for ages. It has the Elite Series ones that you can't really get. Like, a lot of the times they're sold out. And then when it comes to actual games themselves, nothing. And I'm like, what's happening here? There's like this weird disconnect with the buyers and what people are actually playing. But then I wonder if it's like games retail is not necessarily for the likes of you and me, because we are online. Like, we are already informed about what we like, what we want to buy. You know, I'm not really popping into, because I'm British, I wouldn't go into a game and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get, just gonna peruse and see what's around. I'm not gonna do that because I have like a meticulous content plan in my head from work. So I'm like, I know that Ghostwire Tokyo is coming out next week. I know that I'm just gonna buy it on PlayStation and download it because I am trying to move away from having too much stuff in my apartment, she says, sitting in front of like a really messy bookcase. But, you know, it's like, I don't think they're for us. But my aunt, you know, I have an uncle who's like big into games, but doesn't, you know, he has some needs. So like he can only play like certain games. And so my aunt will go into a game store and ask them specifically, like, this is what he's been playing, what would he like, what can he play? And so that kind of stuff is invaluable because, you know, my family does not know how to Google for that stuff. They don't understand what they're searching for. And so being able to put a name to a face rather than a Target employee who's maybe working across the whole electronics floor and maybe more interested in TVs or soundbars, you know, gaming's not their beat. So I think there is still very much a very important place for games retail. And I think, you know, I'm saddened to see the decline because, you know, when I was a kid and I didn't know anything about games, I would go in, just pick stuff that interested me from the box art, you know? I would hate for people to miss that kind of experience. And also, like, the second secondhand retail market. At least the game stores that I went to in the UK always had like a second hand area. And yeah, otherwise it's like what going on eBay? I don't know. Nintendo games never drop their value, so that was always your best shot.
I mean, you're right. To echo what you're saying, first and foremost, I think we do need we sell games. This is what we do majority of the time. Majority is not a word. I'm sorry. I'm American. I don't know how to speak.
Me neither. Unless I've had coffee, I'm not worth talking to.
But so I went into Walmart recently and I wanted to buy Mario Party Superstars, the newest Mario Party. They only had Super Mario Party. And it just led to a host of confusion. It was like, I need Mario Party Superstars. And they're like, here's Super Mario Party. I'm like, that's not what I want. There's a different game. I know the naming convention is not the best. Should have just kept numbers. I get that. And then it was like, I will go look myself because they had like the whole, we've been stolen from too much. So here's like, it's under lock and key. You can't even walk over here type of thing. And so like they let me in and I'm like, they don't have like Legends Arceus.
Nope.
But they have like Super Paper Mario, the Origami King. And I'm like, why? And
it's really weird, their selection.
Yeah. And long story short, I had to go to GameStop because I went to 2 Walmarts, 1 Target. The Target at least had like a spot for it, but they just didn't have any more copies. And it just seemed like the weirdest game to be sold out because this is like
family game, party game, like kind of in the remit of a Target or a Walmart.
Yeah, and this is like 2 months after release. This was literally like a month ago, so we're not even talking about it just came out because I get it. Usually when a game just comes out, your average retailer won't have it. Best Buy's usually a good spot, but because of COVID and things, I found out like my Best Buy only has like 4 versions of each game now. It's infuriating.
It's really weird. And as well, it's like, if you think about who the buyers are, because I mean, in department stores and whatever, you would have a buyer for a specific department and your buyer for gaming. It's all still, and this is certainly the case with GameStop and Game and whatever, but it's like, you have to fight for your shelf space. The stores have to put in a certain amount of orders. And, I wonder how much as well, like, COVID will have messed things up. But it also just feels like weirdly unbalanced in the favor of the big games rather than and that's kind of the joy of you and I being as informed as we are. It's like we know the hidden gems, we know what people are talking about online, but if retailers aren't going to give those games shelf space because they are not as big as a Call of Duty, then that's a real shame. Like that really sucks and it's really sad to see.
Yeah, and this sounds like an easy solution, but I know it's not. And I wonder, is it the lack of like competition that's put, I don't know, GameStop in this position it's in? Because I think back when, at least here in the States, we had like EB Games and GameStop. They were like your Walmart, your Walgreens versus CVS. Yeah. They're never too far away from each other.
There's always one.
Yeah, and like EB Games did some things better, and GameStop did some things better. Yeah. And and I wonder, once EB Games went under or they acquired them or I don't know what the full thing is there. And then once, it just basically became your one-stop shop. Like, yes, I know like digital sales and digital, that has something to play into it and things. But like you said, it's weird for something to be failing when, like you said, okay, I want this physical copy of this game that either A, just came out or B, has just been out and you should have. And, our regular stores like, nah, bro, we don't got that. And then, like I said, the person that's helping you is just like, I don't know. I just have like the key. I open the thing. I give you the thing. I pray no one cusses me out, and it's a good day.
Yeah. Like, and as well, the thing that gets me is just, I really wonder what the change is like compared to buying physical compared to digital. Like, I buy physical if it's like a franchise that I love. Everything used to be physical for me, though. And now I just buy it if it's like, oh, I would love to have a physical copy of this just to hang on to. But for now, I buy everything digitally because it's convenience. Like, I, as a person who goes between 2 countries, I'm not going to throw a copy of a game in my bag. I'm just going to download it when I get to the other side. Or use xCloud, which has really changed the way that I play games when I travel. But anyway, it's like, the convenience thing is that again, I live in San Francisco. I pay for high speed broadband. Apparently it doesn't matter that I pay for a terabyte's worth of data because I hit that cap like every month. But it's like that's not the case everywhere. A lot of people still have data caps. A lot of people have storage issues. If you have an Xbox Series S and a really bad data cap and a really bad internet connection speeds, you kind of have to go digital with that console anyway, but it's like it's not going to be the best way for you to play it. And so maybe this is obviously a privileged thing that I am able to afford the internet and I have the consoles with all the space. So I'm really interested to see like what that uptick has changed. Like if we get a new version of an Xbox and PlayStation halfway through the generation, which takes advantage of more space without me having to buy a $200 thing and like play a game of Operation to install it. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if that's the way the industry changes. But at the same time, I really hope the physical market doesn't die because I still love having stuff on my shelves. I've moved around a lot, but I still love having stuff. Behold my stuff. Here it is.
Exactly. And I don't know about you, but there are days where I'm like, I feel like playing a game.
Yeah.
Not any of the new games that I should obviously be playing, but a game I've probably played 5 times already because that's just how it works.
Yeah, and thank God for Game Pass for that for me, especially because they have all these old things on that like I would have on 360, but all my 360 games are back in the UK in a big folder, and so it's really nice to be able to do that digitally. But I wish I could just put the disc in. Like I miss those noises.
Yeah, and for me, like I like to go to my bookshelf that's right there with the Keyblade and some random stickers that came from God knows where. And I like to be able to like, oh yeah, look, that game that I love that I haven't thought about, but now I can physically see it because I'm the type of guy where, okay, when I only download digital games when I'm about to play them immediately because I will download like 2 games and forget they ever exist because the icon has been like pushed back to and then like I'm like, oh crap, wow, I've actually bought a game physically that I already had digitally only because I had no idea it was still there.
No, and as well as like which game was it?
I don't want to say. It was BioShock.
No. That's fine. So, yeah, those are great games. No, but as well, it's like I only ever look at my big list of downloaded games when I haven't got any space on my hard drive, and then I'll go in. I'm like, oh, I had that one downloaded. Oh, okay, maybe I'll play it. I never do.
Yeah, it's just and here's the really tricky thing that people I think rarely think about when they have this conversation is, let's just say, all right, they go under. There is no more GameStop. Just it's gone under. They liquidated whatever business terms. What happens then? Like, because no one ever ponders that question. Okay, so yeah, we got Best Buy and things, but like we said, games is not their main primary source of business. And there's plenty of people who will still want the physical edition, where there's like a collector's edition, what have you. And it's like, are we all just subjected to just waiting for Amazon packages at that point?
And as well, like you'll lose the excitement of midnight launches, and they're always really fun, and but you also miss kind of a staple on the high street. I don't know about you, but is high street still a thing? And I don't know if it's a thing over here, but in the UK, like the high street is the main shopping street in every city or town. And it's always a staple to have a game store there because I don't know, maybe I'm just being romanticizing my youth, but you would go into town and you would go and get some food, and then you'd go to game and you'd buy something, and it would just be such a shame. But also, all those people who work, and then it's further reliance on places like Amazon, and like we talked about Walmart and Target and not having the best selection. And I really hope it doesn't go under.
Yeah, same. Stay the course. Stay the course. Reimagine yourself, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't have the answers to this. I really don't. I just I hope they stay afloat, and maybe somebody that's a billionaire that's bored will be like, I'm just gonna fix this problem with money. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Problem solved. But you know who would have honestly fixed this problem? The Patriots.
That was a good segue. They probably would.
the Patriots would have had this completely
Mhm.
resolved. And Lucy, you don't know this about me, but you know the first thing about me, like I love Pokemon. I feel like that's like a
Mhm.
general
Mhm.
Google
Mhm.
away to figure out. But I really love Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
That was a good
Or
one.
like when they would have like the Japanese trailers before they would show the
Mm.
English one. Metal Gear. Oh, I love it.
Seen anything? I was told not to watch any trailers. I was also told like not to. I'm playing the HD collection, and they were like, don't read the on my stream. They were like, don't read the description of the game for Metal Gear Solid 2. I was like, oh, okay, we'll just go straight into it. And then obviously we got past the tanker bit at the beginning, and I was like, wait, am I not Snake anymore? Like, and they were like, no, Snake's dead. I was like, what? And everyone was like, that's a twist. It's basically like a would you kindly. And I'd never had it spoiled. I had no idea that you played as him in Metal Gear Solid 2. And I was like, ah, okay. I don't know how I managed to avoid that working in games for so long, but still.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Mm.
Whenever you get around to 3, you're gonna come back on the show, and we're both gonna
Mhm.
talk about how it's the best game ever since sliced
That's
bread.
so people were saying in my chat, they were like, you either love 1 and 3 or you love 2 and 4. Apparently,
You
that's the
know,
divide.
I don't. I'm not too. So I love them all. Like, but if I had to rank it, it would be like 3, 4, 1, 2.
Okay.
But not
Hmm.
saying not.
But
For,
not like bad
yeah,
way, you know.
and I'm only ranking 4 the second place because like 4 is like an amalgamation of what made each game great in one
Right.
game. Like
Mhm.
it understood. Hideo Kojima in this instance understood why people loved the game, and he understood why people loved each individual game,
Mhm.
and made sure to make it like a love letter to the series as a whole.
Mhm.
But I feel like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm stoked to get there. But like obviously, and I said this up front, it just doesn't feel right to be playing a game about Russia and nuclear war and stuff in the current climate. Like when everything was kicking off, I'm not going to dwell on this too long, but just explaining
yeah,
why I have paused. Um, it's like part of the thing that's so great about Metal Gear is that it's like goofy, but it changes in an instant to become super super serious, and then I just don't think currently I could stream and go along with that kind of the tone shift. Because obviously stuff is scary at the minute, and like
oh yeah,
I kind of stream to get away from that. So
oh,
instead, I'm playing Resident Evil. But
got you.
I'm playing Resident Evil on easy because again, I just don't want to have to deal with the stress of
Oh
like
no, I can't do scary games at all. I don't know if I can even beat Resident Evil on easy because I'm the type of person that's like, I'm scared. Aim has completely stopped
yeah.
working.
And especially in the first Resident Evil game where you kind of like I mean for audio like I'm just kind of moving my hand up and down because it's like there's no easy way to get that headshot off. It's like you have to wait until they're at a specific distance away from you and then try and get it.
Oh yeah, and then the remakes, I watched my roommate play, and I was like, maybe I'll give this a. Oh God, no,
No,
definitely
no,
not.
that's disgusting. No, I hate it. Those dogs? No, thank you.
But and to your point, one thing that Metal Gear does better than I would honestly say movies and books
Mm.
of this, it takes historical fiction. It does it really well. Like you would
Yeah.
honestly think these events really unfolded this way.
Hmm. It's like, and then as well, my favorite thing about it is the double crossing and who, like, people just switching sides and doing all that because I just, and every time I stream it, folks are like, Lucy, can you explain the plot so far? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I understand it as I'm playing it and as I'm going through. But when I'm actually like trying to explain it back, I'm like, okay, so liquid and solid, and then there's a guy that there's solidus, and then there's this guy, and then I'm like trying to figure it all out. But no, I really enjoy it. And I think as well, just even playing Metal Gear Solid 2 now, things like, oh, I shot a fire extinguisher and I'm gonna sneeze, and that's gonna give my position away. Or I tiptoe over a body when I've put him to sleep so I don't wake him up. It's like tiny things, but it all adds up to the experience, and it's so like. And don't get me wrong, some of the controls in Metal Gear Solid 2, it's like I have to go through a process to hug a corner and shoot. In my head, I have to do like a 5-step thing. But it's like it's so great. Like it's unbelievable, and it's oddly prescient, but also just in terms of game design, like Kojima is obviously a genius, and like it's incredible. And I was still shocked at him tiptoeing over a body in 2022. You know, it's the little things, but they really mean a lot.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely like the thing that was tripping out, like especially too, like you hide in a locker and there's actually like photos of like loved ones or like a
Yeah.
babe poster or random quirky things that would maybe honestly be in a locker.
Got an achievement for that, for looking. But I was like, I don't feel bad about that, you know.
Yeah, or the little touch that I feel like games will do, like you can look through the little, the graded 3-hole thing, but like someone can see you looking if you're not ducking.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, that's wild.
Yeah, that one. I got caught by that a few times. Also, I love getting in the box, and people are like, Lucy, it's more effective if you don't move when you're in the box. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I just trying to get by. Just trying to get by.
I told myself, like, I know people love Sam Fisher and the that franchise that he's in that I can't remember, but I know his name.
Oh, Splinter Cell.
There we go, Splinter Cell. I was like, is it not just called Sam Fisher? But I've always been on the side that Metal Gear is the premier sneaking franchise, even though it's goofy, because I've played I'm just gonna say it's just Sam Fisher in my head now.
Rainbow Six?
No, it's the game you literally just said, and I
Splinter Cell.
Yes.
Conviction?
Yes.
Blacklist?
No, I played 2 of them.
Oh, the original.
Yeah. And but Metal Gear is the only game that I've ever played where like I've sat still for like 10 minutes and didn't move. I only know that because I also got an achievement for that once. I don't know what the timer was, but it was like, oh yeah, you were like in the zone. I'm like, huh.
Yeah, I was in the zone and not doing something else and just leaving my controller down.
No, I think I honestly was just in the zone. Like I play each game. I beat it on European Extreme, which
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, you get seen insta game over. So there have been times of like, I'm not going back to where the game will spawn me. I am getting through this situation no matter what.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did it on normal and I was like, I feel proud about that. But no, European Extreme, no, thank you.
Yeah, it was, but this was back in the day where, like we enjoyed games that didn't release every month, 5 at a time.
Yeah, you had to make those last. And so I appreciate that. I love that.
Yeah, so I'm curious to know, since it's your first time through the first 2, what did you think about like plot and the characters? Like, did you find it just insane? Like, wow, like this is all stupid, but yet made sense.
Yeah, no, I think the first game, so for context, I'd played a little bit with my boyfriend the year prior, but that was, peak pandemic brain, and I genuinely was just like, I don't remember any of this. And then I had worked on an In 2 Minutes episode where we tried to recap the story of Metal Gear, but my friend Alex Goy is a big Metal Gear fan, and he was the one who like put that the notes together. So I just kind of joined the dots and read it, and I was like, that was 2014, so I don't remember any of that. And so when it got to playing, it was really good to stream it because people in the chat knew the game intimately, like so much better than I did. And they would kind of, if I was trying to recap stuff, they would kind of gently point me in the right direction. But I really love it because I think the thing about it is that like it's so earnest, and I love that. I love that, especially. I think it's something in a lot of Japanese media, like in Kingdom Hearts, for example. Sora is like the most earnest character, and it's a trait that I absolutely adore. I'm watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure at the moment, and again, similar. At least Jonathan Joestar is. Joseph Joestar is not so earnest, but Jonathan at least, this big heart, this big goofy heart. And so I love it in Metal Gear 1 and 2 when those characters, like especially Otacon, are just like, and Sniper Wolf, and they're kind of just like spilling their hearts out and just talking about can love bloom on a battlefield, and then they're talking about how they got to where they were, and I love that so much. Like Snake, at least in the first game, is very much like, I'm just going to repeat the plot critical point from your message. I'm going to relay that so the player really knows. But then in the second game, when he's Pliskin, and you've got all the stuff with Raiden, and it's like Raiden, because it's like riding a bike. It's hard as told to remember it. And then you got all the stuff with Raiden. It's like, I just love the way that it evolves, and also the stuff with Raiden, like, not to spoil the ending or anything, because it is so fun to experience if you haven't already. It's like, oh, okay,
it's still one of the wildest things that's ever happened to me in a game.
Yeah, it was wild. And so I just think it's so smart, and it holds up so, like, some of the stuff is like, okay, you know, go find Meryl, she's got that sexy walk, and like some of that stuff obviously has not aged so great, especially Snake in the first game. He's so horny. And he's like, oh, you know, well, what if I take you out for dinner or something? It's like, all right, calm down.
I love your Snake voice, by the way.
Thank you. It's also because my voice is like weirdly going, because I did some voiceover this morning, and I was like, okay, well, now it's my Snake voice. But it's fantastic. Like, I love them so much. I keep quite a detailed list of what I'm playing and watching and stuff. And few things get like the 5 stars, but Metal Gear 1 and 2 both got the 5 stars from me this year.
Ooh, you were definitely coming back on for 3. There's some people who don't like 3. I hope you're not one of them, because they make me cry, but
I played like the first couple hours of it, and I was like, oh my god, all these new systems. Okay. And then for context of how far I got through, I got to the meow from Ocelot. So I was like, okay. That was about where we ended.
Still pretty early on, but I'm curious to hear your take, and you know, ultimately for. But one of the things I think that Metal Gear did right, does well, I've yet to see it be better. So, you know, I like anime and manga mostly more than any other form of like written or, you know, like television media, because I feel like, and most of the when it's done at its best, it's the most human characters I've ever seen in, like, you know, entertainment. You know, I think of something like Euphoria, and I don't like it personally because it's such an exaggeration. Like, yes, these things happen. Yes, they're bad. And yes, we should shine light on it. But these things are so bad, it stops feeling human. Like, this is one in what, like a million people, and yet it's 18. Like, it just,
they're all in together at the same place in the same high school, and it's like, I get that, and it's weirdly, it's a criticism that I have with Marvel movies, because especially towards the end of like Infinity War and everything, the stakes got too big. Maybe less Infinity War, because that was when they actually did kind of return to characterization. But sometimes in Marvel movies, they will just kind of be like really good human stuff, really good relationship and characterization. That's like, okay, now we've got a big alien destroying the city, and we're gonna ignore everything, and then we're gonna come back. And it's like, when stakes get so high all the time in like every single movie, it's exhausting, and it's not as fun for me. I think I like more tighter stories than the big explosions.
Yeah, and the thing about Metal Gear is, like, the characters are so fully realized human. Like, yeah, we clearly have good guy, bad guys, but even within that, it's like,
there are layers.
Good guy for bad reasons, bad guy for good reasons. I mean, it just for me. And, you know, everyone's motivation, no matter how goofy or insane, is just so very believable. Yeah. Like, you know, I look at someone like a Gray Fox, and it's like, you know, this character who I thought was just like, you know, some psychopath robot dude is probably like, you know, you said Ernest, like probably the most earnest person in the entire series. Yeah.
Oh, who there's that ninja. God. I love it. And it's like, it's so quotable as well. And like, I don't know if this is pandemic brain or if this is just a run-on effect of being on the internet so much. And I say that because, like, I literally work on an internet culture show, and I'm very aware that my use of the internet has changed the way my brain works. Like, it's constant floods of information, and my retention of it is so bad. And I even get that with games sometimes, where I'll just play a whole game, and I'm like, oh, I enjoyed that. Couldn't tell you anything that happened in it, really. But with Metal Gear, it was like, oh god, yeah, like Metal Gear Solid, everything just sticks out to me. Like everything, like every boss fight, every line of dialogue, and you know, it's something super special in that way. And And I guess it's just timeless. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so cool because I think this is one of the few games. There's probably others where like boss fights are so meaningful and impactful. Like
Yeah.
when you're getting ready to fight a boss, it's like the cutscene, the dialogue before, during, and after is all gonna be super important. And then just because of his creativity, the boss fight themselves is just an experience. Like outside of just clearly shoot the thing, beat the thing up, it dies, and you move on. Because I remember like fighting Vulcan Raven. It's just like the spiritual shaman, and it's just like the words that I always remember every time I replay one or just watch a video of it. And I just think about, his haunting, premonition about Snake of like, how, oh, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're just a killer like the rest of us. But like, and how his haunting, my spirit will be watching you no matter where you go. And it's just, it like as he walks, it hits you so differently. And like, because there's not a person that I think I've ever killed or defeated in Metal Gear that I felt like, oh, you were just a monster and needed to die.
Yeah, no. Especially, and like, God, Sniper Wolf, for me, that culmination of that fight, and I was like, oh my God, I might cry at this point. And, it's so great. They're really good. I can't wait to play the rest of them.
Oh, yeah, you can. And, the thing that I love is just the greater context. Like, I love a game because, like, so, like, I think all the BioShocks are great. And, I think BioShock Infinite it's good, but the DLC is really where you get the meaty parts that kind of connect the whole thing with Elizabeth. But I feel like Metal Gear is one of those few games where it's like each game recontextualized the first one. You could play Metal Gear 1 and think it's great, but then you play 2 and you look back at 1 and it's like a completely different game.
Yeah.
And then
100%.
And I feel like you play 3 and 1 and 2 become a completely different game. And then you play 4, and then the series as a whole is just completely different from A to Z. And it's like, I don't know if that was intentional or Hideo Kojima was just like...
I mean, hey, I wouldn't put it past him.
But yeah, and, these are just the things that I think about how... I always tell people that I think it's important, especially as game media journalists people, or just people who love gaming in general, that there's just certain games that you have to go back and play because it recontextualizes things. Like people always tell me, oh, why play Mario 64? Oh, that game's old. I mean, I guess it kind of holds up. And I'm like, when you play Mario 64, it makes you look at gaming differently. Like, especially if you wasn't there originally, you'd be like, how did this game in 1996 accomplish things that we still try to do today? And I feel like that's why Breath of the Wild is timeless. Even though I know people, the debate, is it the best open world game ever? I feel like that's really not important if it is or isn't. It's the fact that it recontextualized gaming. And few games can do that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's something really special. And like, this is not a knock on the sort of state of modern gaming, because I know sometimes I love playing an open world game. And I love having a checklist. And I love following the dotted line to where I'm going. But like, being more open-ended and like moving against that it makes it stick out for me a bit more, like not being completely reliant on quest logs or whatever. And a story that does kind of make you think a little bit more and kind of, I don't know, appreciate it. It's something really special. And I'm curious to know your thoughts on 5.
Oh, so clearly, I know it's not, a finished game per se. Not everything that was supposed to be there was there. Which, in terms of Metal Gear, that might as well be like saying it was missing like 8 chapters at the end. I think 5 is really good because it comes at it fills in a lot of holes. It's like it's kind of like it doesn't really give you new information per se, but you're able to see things you always knew about, and I think it's fun in that way. It's like it's like stories from like your grandma. You knew this stuff happened. You knew all the characters and players, but like they found the old movie of the incident. So it's like, like, it's putting faces to names and, locations to things. And that's what it does for me. And like, I really enjoy it. It's definitely a game I feel like can only be enjoyed the more you know about the series. It's not like it's a game you can pick up and play. But I feel like, without the prior American knowledge, it's just like a solid game that's fun. I wouldn't put it like on my best rankings list. It's kind of like off to the side. To me, it's like the cherry on top. It's like, to me, it's the Wikipedia page. Like, if you love this, play this, and here's all like
Yeah.
here's like info.
Here's the info.
Yeah, because
Perfect.
it's I know it's open world, but to me it never really felt open world. It's weird, one of those things where, like, this is an open world game, but it's also Metal Gear, and like
Yeah.
and I'm also, it's like half open world, half base builder. It's like base builder the game, but like not as boring as that sounds.
Yeah. And also, yeah, and it, like, I played a little bit at the time when it came out, and I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. But it feels nice to control.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that. I remember like that, and I had a horse. It was great.
it's one of those games like without spoiling it, where it's just like, okay, so one of the things I've always said is that I think The Last of Us is a okay to good game, but I also think it's a masterpiece. But it's only a masterpiece because of the last literal 3 minutes of the game. Dare I say, the last line of the game, fade to black, goes from, yeah, this was good, to, oh my god, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, and I stand by that, because it is just a generic game. But like, it's one of those things like, whoa, okay, the ending just completely changed my perception. I feel like Metal Gear Solid 5 is that this is a good Metal Gear game. It's recontextualizing things. It's giving me some information. Oh, that's cool how that came about. Oh yeah, they talked about this. Now I see it. And then like you get to like the ending, more or less, and it's just like, oh wow, oh, that is the exclamation point I needed to turn this game into something completely different.
Right.
And
the red exclamation mark.
Yeah, the
above the head.
Yes. Yeah. Kojima should just hire us, and we're just gonna like do the whole the voicing and sound effects of all that.
Listen.
But yeah, I guess this segment really turned into play old games. It makes you appreciate new games.
Yes, 100%. I think it's very important to do that.
Very, very, very important. Like, again, I mean, yes, I think we're privileged to, have just been born at the right time to be like, yeah, bro, like I was there for the Nintendo. I played that. And I had no responsibility. So yeah, I just played these games as they came out. I played these games as they came out. Oh, real quick tangent. Why was Sonic Adventure not remade? Why did they remake Sonic Colors? I'll never understand that.
I have my Sonic knowledge is low. So I'm sorry, but I hope you find that answer, and I hope they do remake it for you one day.
Yes. Well, I know you know this. We all remember Sonic being chased by Shamu. That was like iconic early.
Was that an American thing though?
Was it?
I don't think Shamu had the star power in the UK.
Oh, well, we all remember him being chased by the giant orca.
Yeah. That rings a bell. But again, I was never a Sonic kid, so I was probably just like sat there kind of just in blissful ignorance. Although I did love the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I will say that.
Oh yeah, that was surprisingly good.
Surprisingly good. I'm excited for 2.
I am too. Did you see the new movie poster where they had like, the Robotnik hand over the... Oh yeah, that was...
It looked really good. I'm super stoked for that one.
Yeah. Well, that's the best thing to happen to Sonic lately. It has been the movies. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. We're getting open world Sonic, so recontextualize has been the word of the day, kids. Look that up. Well, Lucy, thank you for joining me. It's been a blast talking about things, learning about the High Street, which is called Main Street here. I'm assuming that's just Main Street.
Okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, we call it the High Street. I don't know why. But thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, and where can, the people find you, keep up with you, see your face in all your glory?
Well, I'm on a bunch of stuff on GameSpot, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Lucy James Games on everything. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm also on a bunch of Giant Bomb stuff. So my face just kind of crops up there. So does my voice, because I'm on some podcasts.
I've never actually looked at what your handle was. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I've mentally seen it.
Yeah.
But, like, I've never just heard, like now that you sound like that rolls off the tongue really nicely.
It's much better than my old one used to be, which was, like, Lucy_JJ. And I was like, this needs to be catchy. So I changed it. But, yeah, it works. It helps that my surname rhymes with games. So
that it does. Man, I got lost in thought and was just like, I wonder could my name rhyme with something. Probably not. It's hard.
Yeah, that's hard. Harmon. We'll go to the drawing board.
Yeah, we'll go to
We'll
the
do.
drawing board, and
We'll go to rhymezone.com.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, Rhyme Zone. It's
All
good.
right. All right. When I need to write headlines again, I'm going to do that. But people, you can find me at Odo Harmon Jr. You can find the show at FC Podcast 23 on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, Full Circle Podcast anywhere podcasts are found. If you have a podcast service and it's not there, just let me know. It'll be there. But as always, have a great week. Be blessed and bye.
Bye.